common sense.
All right, you're right, Isaac, to a certain extent. Much of this is common sense. We all know from time to time when we have crossed the line with someone, when we've done something that was inappropriate. But so much of sexual harassment is not really black and white. There's so many shades of gray. And so often, we just don't know when we're stepping into those shades of gray. We don't know when our behaviors, our habits, are adversely affecting the people that we work with, especially with this new media we have, the internet, cell phones. We really don't know sometimes when we're crossing over that line from being appropriate to inappropriate. Here's a good example. Let's take Jack and Jill, for example. Jack and Jill, they're store clerks. They've worked together for years. They're good friends. Well, one day, Jack decides to bring his brand new cell phone to the workplace. He started showing his cell phone to the guys in the stock room. Everyone's huddled around this phone looking at these pictures, talking about the twins. Jill, overhearing all this, says, "Oh, I want to see the pictures." He runs up to Jack. Jack doesn't really want to show her the pictures. He hesitates. Jill says, "I really want to see these pictures. Show them to me. I love kids. Come on." Jack eventually shows her the pictures, and Jill is outraged because these aren't pictures of cute and cuddly children like she expected. These are pictures of naked women on his cell phone. You see, during Jack's off time, he likes to download porn onto his cell phone, which has high-resolution photos. So how many of you think that what Jack has done, that Jack's conduct, bringing his cell phone, showing these pictures of naked women, how many of you think that was sexual harassment?
Of course, Jack is a total pervert.
And if Jill weren't so nosy, asking to look at Jack's phone, then she wouldn't have seen the pictures, then she wouldn't have been offended. So
Jack didn't intend to offend her. Is that also your point?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's not like he touched her, grabbed her, or something like that. You know, I mean, I could see how that would be like harassment, but he didn't intend to like offend her by showing the phone. I mean, he wasn't showing her.
All right, that's a good point. But how many of you would need some more information before you could make that decision that, yes, this was sexual harassment?
I would want to know how often this kind of thing happens. So does Jack come to work every day with photos of naked women, or was this just a one-time incident?
Okay, now why is that important to you? Why would you want to know if this happens only once or if it happens over a course of time?
If it happened once, I don't think it would be serious enough to be considered harassment. But if every time Jill walked in the room and she saw Jack showing his phone to everybody, well then that's a different story.
Okay. Those are all really good points that you're making. Amy, to your point regarding the kind of environment that Jill is working in, the kind of conduct that she's subjected to every time she walks into the workplace, and her feeling that Jack is a pervert. You're kind of getting to that first type of sexual harassment in the workplace. There are two types. There's a hostile work environment, and then there's quid pro quo. We'll get to quid pro quo a little bit later. But what you're describing potentially could create a hostile work environment for Jill. Now, before we can say that we have a hostile work environment, we have a few tests that we have to meet first, a few criteria. The first is that the conduct has to be unwelcome. I think we can all agree that Jill was uncomfortable when looking at these pictures. She didn't welcome looking at these pictures. Okay? Second, the conduct has to be severe or pervasive. Now, severity is very difficult to gauge for you, but often severity is being touched, being grabbed. It only has to happen once in order for it to be considered harassing conduct. Bringing a cell phone once with naked pictures on the phone, I'm not exactly sure if that would get us to that severity level. Because, like to your point, Sharon and Aaron, didn't realize that your name's wrong. To your point, if Jack's supervisor were to pull him aside and reprimand him for bringing in that cell phone, and Jack never brought his cell phone in ever again, the situation's resolved. Jill is no longer working in the space in where she has to see these pictures. However, every day she walks into work, Jack has a whole new set of pictures for her, and his colleagues, and everybody else who has to see the phone. Then, you have a situation in where the conduct is happening so frequently, it's happening so repeatedly, that we're now walking into that pervasive territory.
Come on, I mean, Jack flipped his phone over. I mean, he was looking at his phone. It's not like he walked up and was like, you know, showed it, you know, to her. She asked to look at it.
Okay, so once again, Isaac's making a really good counterpoint. He's saying, look, it's Jill who asked you the phone. It's not like Jack went up to her and said, oh, here, I'm going to sexually harass you. I'm intending to harass you by showing you my phone. She asked for it. Does that make a difference to anyone?
No, she still has to see him and his buddies gawking at women and laughing at the phone, and it's got to make her feel gross going to work, and it's humiliating.
Any other thoughts?
Intentional, not intentional, Jack still crossed the line.
See, Isaac, sexual harassment and other forms of harassment in the workplace